Unc, I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes I'm afraid to leave the house.
Why?
To be honest. Cause first off, I'm afraid of the police. I'm afraid of getting robbed. I'm afraid of other black men, and quite frankly, I feel like they're afraid of me too. Sometimes I'm afraid of walking this world as a black man because I never know what are other people thinking of me in a way, because I feel like a threat in every space I walk through, no matter
what it may be.
Yeah, what it may be. I feel like people see me as a threat, and that fears, that makes me feel a type of way, because what measures are they gonna take to make themselves feel safe?
If they perceive you as a threat.
If they perceive me as a threat. Now, if I come across a police officer, what do you think I should do in that situation?
Well, I think the thing you have to keep in mind is this: not every cop is the type of cop that you see portrayed on social media, right? I would say most law enforcement officers are just like you and me, independent of their race. Most of them want to come home and be with their family at the end of the night. Now, to that point, because you have no way of knowing what their mindset is, and they don't have any way of knowing your mindset either, right. What you have to recognize is that if ever you encounter a member of law enforcement, it is your job to make sure that you do not present yourself in any way that makes them have to question if they will be able to return home safely to their family. Because if they perceive a threat from you, whether that threat is real or just perceived based on something you may do,
Got you.
The outcome for you can be far more challenging than the outcome for them, right? And so you have to remember the goal is to get home safe. And I believe, and I've seen this with my own two eyes, is that when people engage with law enforcement in a way that does not create a sense of a threat or a challenge, they are far more likely to be able to get through that situation in a way that will not cause them or the law enforcement officer any harm. Everyone needs to feel safe. Listen what they say, be compliant, do not resist.
Okay. I know that, not all police officers are like this, a lot are great, but sometimes you can come across some that, just want to, harass you. But what should I do if, I'm caught in that situation, I'm trying to be respectful. Like, what do you think, in that moment I should do if I come across?
I think that you should be as compliant as possible. Understand that person may be operating with a bias that's making them perceive you as very different than what you are. And you have no way to change their bias in that moment. So what you need to do is make sure you don't play into that bias.
Okay.
So it's about being compliant. It's about being calm as possible.
Yeah, because that does make me anxious. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me anxious.
Make sure as much as possible that you stay in a space where other people can see it. I think nowadays a lot of people choose to film that experience. I think accountability never hurts. But I think also to that point, one of the things that I'm very cautious about is, with everything going on, like especially in LA, there's been a lot of crime happening lately. And at certain malls and certain places you go, you'll see tons of law enforcement there. I know that they're here to do a job, but I don't know the mindsets of each individual. So what I do is if I see them standing there, I go through the other door. I'm here to get my shirt.
Exactly.
I'm not here to verify your mindset. You're here for criminals. I'm not one of them. So we have no reason to interact today. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what I do. I have nothing against them in any way, shape, or form. But what I also do know is that for them working, they operate in this is one thing we don't talk about, is members of law enforcement operate in a really militaristic environment. And what I mean by that is this: when they leave out their home, they don't know if they're gonna come home safe. They don't know, because there are really bad people in the world.
Exactly, yeah.
And so for them, in making quick decisions, sometimes it's hard for them to decipher between, are you one of those people? And they don't have the time to be able to make that decision. So sometimes the best way to interact with them is not at all, because you're not someone that they're out here for. They're not out here to interact with the good ones. They're out here to interact with the folks who are a threat to us.
Right.
And so I choose to avoid those circumstances. But to answer your question, if you find yourself in that situation, it is vitally important that you speak clear, that you are compliant, that you do not resist, even if they wrong. Well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I've seen all these social media videos where I see this situation going downhill. Officer stops somebody And then it's, why you stopping me? What's the problem? What's this? What's that? And do you have a right to ask? Well, in theory, sure, but you're dealing with another human being, and it can come across here challenging their authority. And so with that understood, if you're doing all that, I'm seeing it happen. No, don't touch me, don't touch me. And then before you know it, somebody's down on the ground, severely harmed or fatally harmed for that matter. And I just think to myself, wow, this could have gone another way, but this could have also been avoidable if you recognize that the energy you bring to a situation can be a contributing factor to the energy you get back.
That's so true.
It can be. I'm not saying that every person who's ever been harmed by the police did something to cause it. Not by any stretch of imagination. We've seen videos that would verify that would verify otherwise, of course. But you have a lot of control on how people treat you based on the energy you bring. One of the things I teach Marco is when we go out, into different places, one of the things that I do, and I showed him to do this, as soon as we walk into a space, speak and show teeth. I say speak and show teeth. And so what that means is we walk into a department store, we walk into a designer store, you already know how they looking at you, you already know how they perceive you. So you walk in there and immediately, hello everyone, hello. You know what I'm saying? You speak, hi, I'm doing great today, how are you? You speak very nicely and you show teeth. Get over this mindset that men don't smile. I tell them that men do smile when you don't want to present yourself as a threat. Hello, I'm doing well today, how are you? If they want to follow you around, honey, I put them to work. When they come in that store and they follow me around in the store, but you got to strategically do it, because when they follow me around, here's what I do, is I put them to work. As soon as they're with me, I'm like, hi, how are you? What's your name? Rose?
And I've seen.
Mm-hmm. I said, Rose, I need this in a small. Could you get that in a small? What else would you recommend for my figure? Okay, could you grab those too? Thank you so much, Rose. I'm so happy you're here. I love this personalized service that you give. And I put them to work. Right, yeah. And you're gonna regret the day that you ever walked up to me, Rose, because Rose is gonna be put to work. And you're walking, water. Are you thirsty, Mark? Could you grab us some water? We need some water, Rose. So you have to be able to navigate these spaces by recognizing how they perceive you, and don't be the quiet black dude that's staying off to the side. No, I'm good. I don't need no help. How's that going to feed into how they think about you? It's not right, but it's reality.
Because it's almost like, in a way, you do that. Like, people do that because it's like they feel that. They feel that energy around, they feel that, so they try to avoid it by, not giving contact or not talking or anything, because they're so anxious inside of I feel like I don't belong. But no, you gotta engage. Yeah, you gotta engage.
One of the things I recognize is this: prejudice exists because they don't see the person inside of you.
Yep.
The reality is that once they get the opportunity to actually talk to you and get the sense of who you are, you will find that people quickly turn their mindset. You would be surprised how many people who say, I don't like gay people, you're going to hell. And they talk to me for about 5-10 minutes, I like you. Oh my God, I like you. And they start rethinking stuff. Yeah. Or I'm not sure about this guy because he looks too urban. But then they talk like, wow, he's a really smart guy. And wow, he's out of family, he's out of this. You have to allow people to see the fullness of who you are. And the problem is that when you go into a space and you already perceive that they see you as a threat, and then you stay silent, avoid it, you don't make eye contact, what that then does is that doesn't allow them to see you as a person. And so what I do is I force them to see me as a person.
Right.
When you speak, hi, I'm doing good today. How are you today? And what's your names? And your name is Rose. Well, Rose, it's a pleasure to meet you. Are you going to be the one assisting me today? Well, wonderful. I would love to find. And I talk, Rose, where are you from? I hear an accent. You're from Georgia. Wow, beautiful accent. I love how you like in LA. Wonderful. I use my charisma and my personality to force you to engage with me. Because what I know to be true is that if you talk to me for about 5 minutes, you're going to see I'm just as human as you are.
So that's one of the biggest things that can help you not come across as a threat is just speaking and allowing them to know who you are.
Exactly.
Under that. Okay.
Let them see you.
Okay.
Speak to them. Smile. If you notice, every time when we're driving in and out of our community and the neighbors are walking by on the sidewalk, if you notice, what do? Wave at them. Hi, how are you? And they know it too. They wave at me. We all do it. But why do I do that? Because they need to know I'm not a threat to you. I'm not a threat to you. And so warmth, friendliness, all these things help. In order for people to see the fullness of who you are.
Exactly.
You can't control people's bias.
Yeah.
You can't, but you can help them to see you as a full person.
I know that's something we have to do, but I feel like, it's like, dang, like, why do I have to do this? But it's something that, we, as Black people, we have to do, but it's like that. A part of me is like,
you resent the fact.
Yeah, so I'm like, why do I have to do this?
Well, here's my thing. It ain't right, but it's reality.
Yeah.
And You don't have to do it at all. But by not doing it, are you also prepared for how people react to you when you don't? I don't always like it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I also don't like being in the grave. I also don't like being denied opportunity. I also don't like having to deal with certain realities other people deal with while they're not choosing to do that. I get that you resent it, but what you have to remember is this. You're not putting on a performance for them to make them think that you're the friendly, non-threatening black guy. What you're doing at the core is you're showing an interest in them and acknowledging them as a person, because you got to put yourself in their shoes too, right? You can have somebody who believes that you view them as a racist or as a bad police officer because the way that the world has treated them makes them believe that every black person views them that way. And they may not feel that way. So sometimes, because of your own perception, you can come into a situation communicating your own bias and your own preconceived notions that make them come at you in a certain way. And then next thing you know, you're like, why they treat me like this? Not paying attention to the fact that your energy could have contributed to that as well. If I am in control of how I come across, then it often influences how people come across to me. And it also opened my eyes that the vast majority of people don't really see me negatively. They just operate the same way I'm operating, which is they fear, do I have a bias against them? And vice versa. So as long as I show them I don't have a bias against them, generally it lowers the tone so we can actually connect as human beings.
You know, I hear what you're saying, and you know, at the end of the day, we're all humans. You know, as long as you know I respect them, and you know that I expect the same from them as well, you know, and that's really what it comes to. Yeah, you have the power to influence how people treat you. You can't control it, but you can influence how people treat you. So y'all go ahead and click like and click share on this, and go ahead and share your opinion below. And of course, make sure that you have your young people within your house watch this as well. Thanks so much for joining our family this evening.